Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hobbyist Now, your one stop shop.
For all things nerdy and dirty.
That's right. That's right. Claudian, and of course, this is the great and only Nick. We just ask you don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you like what you're seeing or hearing. Also, leave a comment. We would definitely love to hear from you.
We're also on Spotify. Our link is in the bio.
And also, our Instagram as well, also in the episode description. Go check that out, too. Yeah, it's been a brand new year. Hope everybody had a safe and
It's a great holiday.
good New Year's. And we're here for a whole nother year, and we're excited to begin. We're going to start off with what we usually do, the news. Hi, everyone. So we're going to start off our news like we usually do. I'm going to start it off with, in fact, Avatar. The new James Cameron Avatar, The Way of Waters. Have you seen it yet? I haven't.
No.
I haven't, so I'm planning on eventually seeing it. But the Avatar, The Way of Water has opened up to an impressive 134 million domestic weekend box office victory, alongside bringing in 435 million globally. Now, it's probably going to hit $1 billion by the time it's done, but Cameron has said to him, to everybody, that really for them to make this a win as far as the film and everything, it's got to hit the $2 billion mark. So no idea if it's going to hit that. Probably not. Who knows? That's asking a lot. But anyway, so we're going to move on to something we normally don't talk about that much, but I thought it was kind of interesting to put in our little news, and that's the amiibos. I don't have any amiibos. I don't think you collect them either. But one of gaming's most iconic and popular characters is in fact coming home in one of gaming's most popular and iconic collectibles. The Sephiroth amiibo is available, in fact, right now for pre-order from Best Buy, GameStop, and Target, with in fact more to follow. Bring the one-winged angel home, along with Kazuo amiibo on January 13th. Moving on to one of my favorite game developers, not Nick's, but it's Hideo Kojima. We got some news from them. So Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima has shared a new poster for the Death Stranding 2, and a special thank you message to celebrate Kojima's productions. Can you believe the 7th anniversary? Wow, that's crazy. I remember when
they separated.
When Kojima was like, "What's he gonna do next?" It was literally yesterday, and he couldn't find anything. Couldn't find anywhere, no funding, nothing. Eventually, he was able to get a loan and obviously create Kojima Productions. Shared on the studio's Twitter page, the celebration kicked off with a tour of Kojima Productions' fancy new offices in Tokyo, before Kojima himself appeared to tease a little bit more about his upcoming projects. The Death Stranding 2 poster was shared later and appears to show some sort of octopus locked in a containment pod. Credits to the game's cast also feature, including names such as returning actor Norman Reedus and Troy Baker, with the brand new actor Ellen Fanning, who's been a decent-sized American actress. But Troy Baker, people will know, and definitely Reedus, Norman Reedus, people will definitely know. I did watch the tour. It's crazy the look of the studio, just to see what you got to go just to get in the building. But we're gonna move it on though to Nick's favorite segment, and that is action figures. Nick, what do you got for us?
So all these will be released in February of this year. We'll be starting off with an oldie but a goodie. Mega House Precious Gem series, Code Geass Lelouch. He's a PVC figure. No idea as far as size, but he'll run you about $123.64. Then we move on to Mega House Lookup, One Piece, Zoro and Luffy, sold separately. They'll both run you about $23.13. They look to be littler figures, probably about the same size as Nenroids. So you got that to look forward to. Then we have the Good Smile Company, Shovel Knight Nenroid. He'll run you about $58.18. He looks pretty cool. Definitely all the little extra faces, hands, all Nenroid stuff. You get it by now. Then we have Max Factory, Mushoku Tensei, Eris. The show's fantastic. She's cool as hell. It's just an awesome figure. The detail, all that stuff. She'll run you about 60.83. But yeah, if you don't know who this is, watch the show. It's fantastic. It's on Crunchyroll. And then this one was actually supplied by Claudian.
Yeah.
Mega Man X Blade Armor Action Figure Model Kit. He'll run you about $100, but there's literally none of these Mega Man models that will run you under that. So it's a pretty good deal. He looks awesome. Definitely worth the $100. I've contemplated buying one more than once. Then we move on to some video game news. So Insomniac Games has announced that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 will launch on PlayStation 5 in fall of 2023. Revealed in PlayStation blog post, a long-awaited sequel to 2018 Spider-Man will seemingly stick to the promised 2023 release year. And then moving on to some more video game news. Square Enix announced that it will release the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster game series for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4 in spring of 2023. Fans can purchase the game individually or as a bundle. A limited run physical edition titled Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Pixel Remaster Final Fantasy 35th Anniversary Edition is available for pre-order now. The collector's edition will feature a picture vinyl set, 8 3D pixel figurines, an art book, and a lenticular sleeve. The bundle will include Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster versions of all 6 main number titles in the Final Fantasy game series. Square Enix previously released the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster series of games for Steam and mobile devices. The games are 2D remasters of the 6 main numbered titles in the franchise. Blue Exorcist is actually getting some exciting news here. At Jump Festa 23 event revealed that the anime based on Kazu Kato's Blue Exorcist manga is getting a new television series. Kato posted an illustration on Twitter to celebrate the news. Kato launched the Blue Exorcist manga in Jump SQ in 2009. The manga went on hiatus in July of 2021 and resumed in May of 2022. The manga's 28th volume shipped on November 4th. The manga has more than 25 million copies in circulation. The manga inspired a 25-episode television series in 2011, and the Blue Exorcist Kuro Runs Away from Home OVA also premiered in 2011. The Blue Exorcist movie then premiered in Japan on December 2012. The Blue Exorcist Kyoto Saga television anime premiered in 2017 and aired for 12 episodes. The franchise also includes several novels and a series of stage plays. So that's pretty exciting for that. Well, that will actually end our news, and we get to move on to some pretty interesting stuff.
We definitely wanted to open the year with something that maybe not a lot of people are aware of, and kind of go back to our love of anime. So our main topic is going to, in fact, be about the Record of Lodoss Wars, which it's going to be pretty exciting. So just a little caveat, there's going to be a lot of listings of a lot of times and dates, so just give you guys a heads up on that. But yeah, so we're going to move over to basically the meat and potatoes.
The meat and the potatoes.
So the original OVA series and the TV series had both been released, in fact, in North America through Central Park Media on VHS and on DVD. The OVA and TV series was slated for a Blu-ray release through Media Blasters, but they had dropped out all plans to re-release the series on April 14th, 2017. Funimation, in fact, announced their license to both the OVA series and the Chronicles of the Heroic Knight TV series, and re-released the OVA on both Blu-ray and DVD, and the TV series on DVD in one set on July 18th, 2017. So we're going to first cover the anime, and this is sort of the structure of the anime, as it were. So here are the episodes, essentially, but not episodes, but the main arcs or shows. In 1990, there's the Record of Lodoss War, 13 episodes, OVA, and produced by Madhouse. In 1998, Record of Lodoss War, Chronicles of the Heroic Knight, which is a 27-episode TV series produced by AIC. There's the 1998 Welcome to Lodoss Island, 3-part movie produced by AIC. And the 2014 Record of Lodoss War is that delicious 13 episodes, 14 series produced by Studio Bean and Studio Hyberia. All right, so we're going to talk about the mangas next. So here they are. So The Lady of Freyas, which was a 2-part volume, and it was released by CPM Manga. The Demon of Flame, 2 volumes. The Grey Witch, 3 volumes. Also by CPA Manga for the English release. The Legend of Cristeria, First Time Adventurers, 3 volumes for that one. Welcome to Lodoss Island, 3 volumes, 4-panel manga. First two volumes released in English by CPM Manga. Chronicles of the Heroic Knight, 6 volumes, art released in English by CPM Manga. Dealit's Tale, 2 volumes, released again by CPM Manga. The Grey Witch, 3 volumes. The Crown of the Covenant, 3 volumes. And those are the mangas of the series. And every CPM, when I mentioned that, those were English versions. Just so clarify, I forgot to mention that. All right, we're gonna move on though to role-playing games, and I'm gonna have Nick take it off from there.
All right, so this is actually how this pretty much started off. Actually, the 1989 Record of Lodoss War Companion, 1991 Record of Lodoss War Companion 2, 1994 Record of Lodoss War Companion 3, 1995 Record of Lodoss War Island RPG Basic Rules, 1996 Lodoss War RPG Expert Rules, 1998 Sword World RPG Lodoss War Island World Guide Supplemental Material for Sword World RPG. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
2018 Record of Lodoss War RPG 30th Anniversary Revised Edition, and then kind of recent 2019 Record of Lodoss War RPG Supplement War or Demon Wars War of the Destroyer Resurrection. So yeah. This also has video games, oddly enough. The Record of Lodoss War for PC 98 and MSX in 1988. Record of Lodoss War Fuki Zinduk for the X68000 in 1991. Record of Lodoss War Hiario no Magio X68000 PC in 1991 and 1992. Record of Lodoss War 2 Goshikyo no Mario, which X68000 PC 1992 to 1994. Record of Lodoss War Sega Mega CD 1994. Record of Lodoss War SNES 95. Record of Lodoss War Iyo Kishiden Game Boy Color in 98. Record of Lodoss War Advent of Cardice Dreamcast in 2000. And this is about a $200 game at this point. Record of Lodoss War Successor of Legend. It's a browser-based TCG in 2012. Record of Lodoss War Online. It's a PC MMORPG in 2016. It was also an English release. Record of Lodoss War Dedalite Wonder Labyrinth for PC and Switch in 2021. And it's in English. They also have a radio drama, which is quite strange for something like this. But, I mean, I guess it makes sense because these are essentially what equates to a Dungeons & Dragons game.
Yeah.
The Demons of Wind and Flame released in 4 CD collections based on the plot of the second novel, which was supposed to become a second OVA series, but that project was put on hold. They also have books that are on tape. The first 3 are original stories: the Bewitched Stones side story of novel 1, the Major Destiny side story of novel 3, the Forest of Magic Beasts side story of novel 3, and the episode featuring the mage and magic beast tamer Elena and Alenia. The Traveler from Spirit World based on Daedalight's Tale, the Forest that was forced open based on Daedalight's Tale, the Mist of Vengeance based on Daedalight's Tale.
So, hey, Nick, did you know there was actually an online game of this?
I actually did not.
Yeah, neither did I. So Record of Lodoss War Online. You heard me right. There was, in fact, an online game. Game On released an online game for PC, Record of Lodoss War Online, in April of 2017, and closed it, unfortunately, on October 31st, 2019. Ryu Mizuno, the novelist and co-creator of the franchise, in fact, served as supervisor on the development of the game. The game was also, in fact, released outside of Japan, and art was done by Taki Izubushi, who you're going to hear his name a lot. He was heavily involved in this
Everything.
and everything, as you're going to find out. But a little bit about Ryu Mizu was born on July 13th, 1963, and he's a Japanese author and game designer. Mizuno created Record of Lodoss War, Sword World RPG, Legend of Christinia, and Rune Soldier, Starship Operators, Record of Grand Crest War, and was the general supervisor of Galaxy Angel. Now, a little bit of Izubushi Yataki. This guy is a legend. You're about to find out. When we looked this guy up, we were like, holy crap! So some big names he's about to be tangled up with. But yeah, he was born in August 12th, 1958, in Tokyo, Japan. He's a Japanese anime designer, screenwriter, and director. Izubushi is credited for designing costumes, characters, and creatures, but most of his designs are mechanical, both robots and other vehicles. He created and directed Razafon series, which I actually have, and also created a manga story called Rune Mazcure. Among Izubushi's design credits are the mechs from Panzer World, Gallant, as well as some of our going back to us, Gundam, and Pat Labor show, which is a phenomenal show if you've never seen Pat Labor. He also created the Protect Gear armor used in Kirbitsu Rosasaga Genroth, which, if you've never seen Genroth, it's a phenomenal movie. It's a little slow, but it's pretty top notch. The ADV Films promotion material for Razafon, in some reviews, Gasaka Rika is an Izubushi credit, but also did mech designs on that show. He was not responsible for writing or directing. Izubushi designed costumes for one of the characters of the Cutie Honey live action movie, 2004, directed by Hideaki Anano, who, of course, many of people know him as the Neo Genesis Evangelion fame. Earlier, Anano and Izubushi, called the Buchen by Anano, both had their mechs designs appear on, of all things, Mobile Suit Gundam Char's Counter-Strike in 1988, which is like god tier in Gundam. Like, we're Gunpla Gundam, as you can see. So it's definitely coming home to us for this. Izubushi did some additional design work for Tomo Kai Kyoda's Eureka 7. Now, I've never watched that anime, so I would have no idea exactly what he did or what that show really is about, but it looked good. I might have to check that out. Kyoto was actually an assistant director and episode director of Razafan and directed its theatrical adaptation. Izibushi's work also extends to Tokusatsu's both monster designs for Kaigaku Sentai Domanon and Cho Densi Bioman and Dengetsu Sentai Chainman and Cho Sing Sai's Flashman. Also, from another earlier episode, Kamen Rider Eigetsu and Kamen Rider 000. Like I said, pioneer. Just unfortunately, I think it went under the radar as far as like really well known like names. Home. What would people call that? Household names. But also in 2006, Izubushi said that the design work he was most proud of was in fact Wasted 13, Pat Labor's The Movie 3. Izubushi was the creator producer of Tensuan's Birdie Decode in 2008. In 2008, he designed a character for Namco Bandai's fighting game, of all things, Soul Calibur 4, named Shihurza Azaki. I was unable to quite get her name.
Neither of us were.
Neither of us. We really fought nail and teeth to get this nail, but we did look her up. We kind of see it. Like it kind of makes sense. Record of what is this all about? In fact, what's this anime and book series and mangas all about? Well, Record of Lodoss War recounts the adventures of a youth by the name of Pren, the son of a dishonored knight. A part of his motivations for venturing is to find out what happened to his father and to restore his family's honor. Despite his inexperience, Pren is considered the leader, who is accompanied by his childhood friend Ichos, his friend and somewhat advisor Slane, and later Slane's lover Liana, and his newfound mentor Gehem. They are accompanied by Prem's romantic interest, the high elf Delit, who comes to the forest of no return, seeking an answer to her people's isolationism. Tough words, English hard for me, and an end to what she sees as a slow march to basically extinction, and a thief by the name of Woodchuck. Everybody loved Woodchuck. Throughout the series, Pram comes into contact with friends and foes alike. His allies include King Keshim, King Fahan, Shiris, Orson. His enemies include Emperor Beld, Ashram, and the evil Neuromancer Wadred. The volumes 3 to 7 adapt into manga and anime. Are the Chronicles of the Heroic Knights. Continues the adventures of Pran for the first 8 episodes, but then focuses on Spark and his adventures to complete a quest tasked upon him to protect Nice, the daughter of Slane and Liana. He is accompanied by his own cast of friends in the form of Leaf, Garek, Grievous, and Aldo, and Raina. The television series shares similarities with the plot of the OVA, such as Wagner seeking to kidnap Nice in order to use her as a reagent for the resurrection of Niall, a priestess and the avatar of Cardis, who was slain by Liana's mother, the high priestess Nissan, a short time after the battle with the dynamic god, Liana was the reincarnation of Nile, but she lost her virginity. She was no longer capable of being the doorway to reagent needed to unseal Neil. The legend of Kristanika setting places the former villain Ashram into the seed of a would-be hero who is placed under the spell of an animal god of Kristana. One of the prominent characters is Prytus, his dark elf lover, as she tries to find a way to free him from the clutches of the spell and to restore him back to his living self. So we're going to move to Nick for some of the main characters.
All right. So we'll start with pretty much the main character, Parn. A young swordsman living in the kingdom of Alania. Parn is the son of an infamous knight of Valus, Tessius, and an unnamed Alanian noblewoman who appears at the flashback in the Grey Witch manga. At the beginning of the series, Parn is brave but unskilled fighter. He chafes at his life in a small farming community and feels ostracized by the townsfolk for his father's legacy. He later leaves the village after a goblin attack, eventually meeting the King of Fan and Valus and King Kashu and Flame. His skills eventually improve to the point where he can put up a decent fight against his nemesis, the Dark Knight Marimo. Ashram, he meets Dedalite, the High Elf, during his adventures, and the two of them become romantically involved over the course of the series. Dedalite, a female High Elf, skilled in both swordplay and elementary sorcery. Dedalite grew up in the Forest of No Return, her people's isolated abode. From a very early age, however, she becomes interested in the outside world. Despite the disapproval of her family and peers, she sets out to learn more about it. After meeting Parn, she develops romantic interest in his rash, impulsive nature, his sense of honor, and his dedication, and faithfully stays by his side in the war against Marmo. Eto, Parn's best friend and a priest of Phallus, the supreme god upon King Fan's death. He later becomes the king of Valus and husband of the Princess Fianna. Slain, an old friend of Gaim's, Slain is a wise and powerful magician. He carries the priestess Lelia after she is freed from Carla's possession and becomes the father of little niece. Gaim is an elderly but very skilled dwarven warrior. Prior to the start of the series, Gaim was wounded in a mining accident and was healed at the temple of Marfa by Nice, the daughter of Lelia, and Lelia was kidnapped and possessed by Carla, the Grey Witch. Gaim left to search for her. He has some past connection with Slain and comes to seek the wizard's aid in locating Lelia. Coincidentally, Gaim arrives shortly after the goblin attack in Parn's village, prompting he and Slain to join with Parn and Eto on their quest. Later in the OVA, Gaim challenges Carla to free Lelia's body from possession. Though successful, Gaim is killed by Carla's magic. Gaim's axe is his gravesite in the closing scenes of the OVA. Gaim does not appear in the TV series, though his name is mentioned. Woodchuck, a thief a thief and the last member of the party to join them. Woodchuck encounters the group when they are briefly thrown into the prison after Lelia is rescued from Carla's possession. Carla takes over Woodchuck. His whereabouts after his possession by Carla are unknown. In the novels, rather than being captured, he takes Carla's circlet and of his own will to attempt to make up for the 20 years he spent in prison. So the Chronicles of the Heroic Knight. This is just kind of like a rundown. Or like their characters.
Yeah.
Spark, a young aspiring warrior from Flame who dreams of becoming a knight. What he initially does not know is that the King of Kashu considers him to be a possible successor to the ruling of Flame, and is therefore loath to send him into danger. An intention which is foiled by Spark's impulsive and hot-headedness, in the course of his trials, however, Spark becomes more mature and responsible for his experiences, and also enters a romantic relationship with Nice. He worships Parn as his idol, who in turn becomes fond of Spark himself and later reminds him of his own impetuous youth. Little Niece, the 13-year-old daughter of Lelia and Slain, possessed by the soul of Nenel, later like her grandmother, after whom she is named, and her mother, she is a priestess of Marfra, aware of the malevolent entity presence inside of her. She has detached herself emotionally from the rest of the world, although her mental barriers begin to come down when she meets Spark and gradually falls in love with him. She is later freed from Ninel's presence when Wagnard attempts to resurrect Cardis by drawing Ninel's essence from her. Leaf, a younger half-elf born to a male elf and female human warrior in the realm of Alania. She first met Daedalite during the first war against Marimo, when her home village was evacuated, and has idolized the high elf ever since. She later becomes a mercenary for Garrick's partner. She is a skilled fighter with her spear and full-blooded elf capable of using spirit magic. Garrick, an overconfident axe-wielding mercenary who joins Spark's company under Kashu's orders, secretly a noble of flame, ordered by Kashu to protect Spark despite his boisterous attitude. He is brave and loyal to a fault. He eventually enters a relationship with thief Rihanna. Rihanna, a human thief who joins Spark and his companions after encountering a group of dark elves who had just stolen a holy artifact from the Vault of Valis. Her fellow thief and friend Randy was cursed by the dark elves, which eventually led to his death, and she joins the company primarily to gain revenge on them. Although she initially keeps her true profession a secret from the others, especially Garrett, gradually work out her identity as a thief. But after repeatedly using her skills to aid them, she becomes a trusted and valued member of the team and eventually becomes romantically attracted to Garrick. Algenova, a huge but somewhat timid wizard who becomes part of Spark's company. He is Slane's pupil and very devoted to Little Nisi, often to the point of losing his sight on more important matters. Grievous, not a four-armed robot from Star Wars. A dwarven priest of Mir, who was also joined by Spark, under Kashu's request. He is a skilled healer as well as a doty father with his halberd. And then Claudian, move over to you for some novels.
Yeah, so this series started as essentially a board game, sort of, and so they wrote novels and stuff, and that's what we're gonna do next. And so it's a little different than normally what we're used to, even us. We're like, wow, what is all this? So here are the novels, but these novels were essentially what would be the rule books and stuff for this essential RPG board game, essentially. So the novels, which were by Ryu Mizuno, based on the works he originally created for a world called Forcelia, was a rule-free setting for role-playing games, RPGs. There have since been multiple mangas, anime, and computer game adaptations, several of which have been translated into English. The plot generally follows the conventions and structures of an RPG systems, including Dungeons and Dragons and Sword World RPG, in which several characters of distinct types undertakes a specific quest. The Record of Lodoss War was created in 1986 by Group SNE as a Dungeons and Dragons replay serialized in the Japanese manga Camp Tech from 1986, the year I was born, to 1988. Though they also used the setting with other systems such as Tunnels and Trolls and Rune Quest. Replays are not novels, in fact, but transcripts of RPG sessions meant to both hold the interest of the readers and to convey the events that took place. They have proven to be actually very popular, even to those who do not play role-playing games, but are fans of fiction, including fantasy fiction. Similar to light novels, many characters and parties in replays have become popular as characters of anime. An example of such a character in the female elf Dealit in the Record of Lodoss War, who was actually played by science fiction novelist Ryoshi Yodomoto during the RPG sessions. The popularity of A Record of Lodoss War replays was such that, in fact, Dungeon Master Ryo Mizuno started to adapt the story into some of the earliest Japanese language domestic high fantasy novels in 1988. Interesting, right? When the replay series went on to become a trilogy, the group SNE had to abandon the Dungeons and Dragons rule and create their own game, dubbed Record of Lodoss War campaign, and released in 1989. All three parts of the replay series were eventually published as paperbacks by Kado Kwana Shoten from 1989 to 1991. RPG Replay Record of Lodoss War 1, November 1989. Parn's party retake played according to the Record of Lodoss War campaign rules and incorporating elements from the novelization. RPG Replay Record of Lodoss War 2, September 1990. Orson's Party retake played according to the Record of Lodoss War campaign rules and the incorporation of elements from the novelization. RPG Replay Record of Lodoss War 3, which was July 1991. Sparks Party played and according to the rules of Lodoss War campaign rules. Three prequel Legends of Lodoss replay volumes based on a draft by Ryo Mizuno, written by Hiroshio Takanome and the group SNE, with illustrations by Retsuo Tatio and Tatsumo Maigeshi, were published. Before being published as light novels, the RPG replays were serialized by Comtech under the title TRPG Magazine Live New Record of Lodoss Wars Demon Wars. So here's them in order. RPG Replay Legend of Lodoss 1 Invasion of the Demons, November 1994. RPG Replay Legend of Lodoss 2 Summoning of the Demons, October 1995. RPG Replay Legend of Lodoss 3 Subjunction of the Demons, which was October 1996. Two other replay volumes have been published later. These are them now. RPG Replay Record of Lodoss War Spark the Heroic Knight, April 1998. Record of Lodoss War RPG Replay The Wandering Nobleman's Endless Journey Home, October. Can you believe it's 2020? Like that was just real recently. Mizuno's novelizations were published by Kadowana Shoten between 1988 and 1993, and followed by two collections of short stories in 1995, High Elf Forest, A Dealit's Tale, and The Black Knight, with all illustrations done by Yotaki Izubushi. The Black Knight was re-released in 1998 with illustrations by Masato Natsumoto. The first volume of the novelizations, The Grey Witch, was published in English by Seven Seas Entertainment in 2018. So again, pretty recent. This is kind of still going on. It's kind of interesting. The record of here they are. The Record of Lodoss War 1, The Grey Witch, which was April 1988. The Record of Lodoss War 2, Blazing Devil, February 1989. The Record of Lodoss War 3, The Demon Dragon of Fire, Dragon Mountain Part 1, January 1990. Record of Lodoss War, Demon Dragon of Fire, Dragon Mountain Part 2, June 1990. Record of Lodoss War 5, The King's Holy War, February 1991. Record of Lodoss War 6, The Holy Night of Lodoss, Part 1, November 1991. Record of Lodoss War 7, The Holy Knights of Lodoss, Part 2, March 1993. And then there's kind of a jump, High Elf Forest, Dealit's Tale, February 1995. And then The Dark Knight, The Black Knight, wow, I'm getting these confused with Batman. The Black Knight, July 1995, and it was a September 1998 reissue. So now we're going to move to Nick for more of the more OVA fun.
Okay, so the first volume forms the basis of the first 8 episodes of the Record of Lodoss War OVA series, as well as both Record of Lodoss War The Grey Witch manga series by Yoshihiko Ochi and Tomosa Takuma, respectively. The second was also adapted in manga form by Ayumi Sato and as a 4-CD audio drama. The final 5 episodes of the OVA series are loosely based on the story told across the 3rd and 4th novels, and having caught up with the ongoing novelization at that point, feature an original ending. The Record of Lodoss War chronicles of the Heroic Knight TV series and manga drawn by Matsumo Natsumoto are more faithful adaptations of the volumes 3 to 7. The first collection of the short stories was adapted into the Record of Lodoss War Dealit's Tale manga series by Setsuko Yonoyama. Mizuno later went to pen other series of novels, a prequel titled Legend of Lodoss 1994 to 2002, 5 volumes, with an extra volume illustrated by Akihiro Yamada, and sequels Christiania, Legends of Drifters 1993 to 1996, 4 volumes illustrated by Satsuo Urishihara, part of Legend of Christiania, setting and Record of Lodoss War Generation 1998 to 2006, 6 volumes, a prelude volume illustrated by Yatuka Itsubushi. First editions of the prelude and the first novel, and Yakihiro Mikimoto, Legend of Lodoss War, was adapted into the Record of Lodoss War, The Lady of Paris manga series by Akihiro Yamada, and Legend of Christiania was adapted into a radio drama, a manga by Akira Hakiyama. An anime film and OVA series in 2019, he began writing a novel series, Record of Lodoss War, The Crown of the Covenant. The new series takes place 100 years after the original series, with Dealite as the lead protagonist, and it is illustrated by Hidari and was adapted into a manga by Atsushi Suzumi. The Legend of Lodoss. The Legend of Lodoss 1, Prince of the Fallen Land, August 1994. Legend of Lodoss Night Sky, 1996. Legend of Lodoss Prince of the Sun and Princess of the Moon, 1996. 2 short stories later include In the Eternal Returner. Legend of Lodoss 3, The Gracious Champion, April 1997. Legend of Lodoss 4, The Legendary Hero, March 1998. Legend of Lodoss Eternal Returner, December 1999. 4 short stories. The Legend of Lodoss 5, Saint and the Supreme God, October 2002. So Record of Lodoss War, The Next Generation. Lord of the Dark Island, Record of Lodoss War Next Generation Prelude, May 1998. Later included in The Heritors of Flame. Record of Lodoss War Generation 1, Horror of the Forest of Darkness, 1998 to 2001. Record of Lodoss War Generation Prelude, Inheritors of the Flame, 1999 to 2002. Record of Lodoss War Generation 2, Rebirth of the Evil Empire, 2001. Record of Lodoss War Next Generation 3, The Evil Black Dragon, 2001. Record of Lodoss War Generation 4, Fated Demonic Ship, October 2004. Record of Lodoss War Next Generation 5, Unholy Apocalypse 1, 2005. Record of Lodoss War Next Generation 6, Unholy Apocalypse 2, 2006. So the novel series has sold over 10 million copies in Japan. And an Australian magazine hyper-reviewed Chronicles of the Heroic Knight in 1999 and rated it an 8.5 out of 10. So, Claudia, how did you feel about this?
Kind of started watching the Heroic Knights, which is the other half of it. It's like 24 episodes total, but 12 of them is basically the OVA and another interpretation, and then the other is the Heroic Knights, which is like where the additional characters come in. And but I'm glad we found this. I'm glad we did this episode on it. Um, I was more amazed by actually the additional information we found versus the actual show.
Yeah, I thought this was gonna be very barren.
But the show itself, okay, so it's actually the OVA. Let's talk about the OVA. It's definitely in my art style. Like, if you want to know what kind of anime style I like, actually just check out the stills from the OVA specifically. That's the kind of stuff I kind of grew up with. And then, so I love the style. Watched it dubbed, terribly dubbed.
Oh god.
Like I don't. It was that weird like disconnect of like, what was it, 92, or it was a time where dubbing itself was very problematic.
Yeah, well, it wasn't seen as like a real thing. Like, people didn't
No.
care about it. You're not a real actor.
Yeah, and we always say this, that there was definitely dubbing now has become an art form
Oh god, yeah.
than what it used to be. But it's pretty bad. I will have to say, unfortunately, the dubbing it's very noticeable. You notice it right away,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to watch because of the dubbing. But the animation style is superb for the OVA. Now, going to the actual show, there's obviously they got to basically essentially double the amount for the show, but with probably less money, so less talent, and it shows. So the art style is very different. It's not horrible or anything, and there's moments of really good drawings and good lines, but the dubbing's still the same. It's terrible. It's garbage. And I don't blame, we're not blaming the voice actors or anything, but it's pretty bad, and voice actor, like, the voicing also doesn't fit the characters. Like, people have high pitched voice, like, yeah, it's like, I don't get it. So if I was to rank these, probably like a 3.5, I would say. The dubbing's very terrible. Maybe a 4, actually. Let's be, yeah. So I'd give it a 4, because, like, for me, and I know, why don't you just watch this original? I know, but I don't. I really look at, like, I like my dubs, so I don't, sue me for that, but I don't care. But yeah, so it's pretty low, but it's very confusing too. So it's not like the most articulate show ever either. Like, and I loved it because it reminded me of a series of books called Dragonlance series of books, and it just kind of really resonated with that. And of course, they're from Wizards of the Coast, essentially, that kind of degree, not so much. And then you got your Dungeons and Dragons, so it fits that kind of genre that I love. So there's a lot of that. There's dragons and all that, but it's just, for me, the dubbing was so bad. I was like, oh my god, like, and I kind of look at those kind of things. I'm sorry, but I do. Like, I'm like, so Nick, what's your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I didn't know what the hell to expect because I didn't pick this.
Yeah,
He did.
I did. Yes.
So with that being said, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever watched. It was a lot easier to watch for me, and I know we're gonna get a lot of hate for this. It was a lot easier for me to watch than Wing was. Which Wing was rough. Wing was very rough. I think it's mostly because I didn't know what to expect from this. So that being said, at least if someone, if any of you do go watch this, it is a decent anime. The art style is very nice.
Yeah.
It's very visually pleasing. And if you look at characters, you can tell what their name is. Like Parn, you can tell who he is. Gaim, especially the dwarf, you can tell who that is. The high elves, you can tell. So a lot of that's done very well. The story's pretty good. Some of the characters are named very odd, like Marimo or Mormo or whatever.
Momo, yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I don't really have that many complaints about it. The voice acting, like you said, was atrocious. Like, there's
Atrocious.
one point in there that I don't know who, if anyone's seen this, but that Kevin Hart special where he's like, no, no. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just, I think it's Parn, isn't it, that does it? He's like, no,
Yeah, there's just some
no.
weird. No, it's more like you gotta be kidding me. Like
Yeah, it's really
it's
weird.
literally like that. Like
And it's very jarring, and it really pulls you out of the story. So, I mean, honestly, if you're gonna watch this probably subbed. It's probably the best way to watch it.
probably yeah.
But other than that, no, it was a fantastic show. Story, art, especially the art. The art was very Yu Hakusho esque, if you will. That like '90s, like
Hmm.
late '80s anime style. So if you're into that, it's very beautiful, visually pleasing.
Yeah.
It's got everything you wanted from that early '80s to '90s anime. So not too many complaints, just bad voice acting, really. And like you said, it's kind of confusing, really.
It's kind of confusing. I mean, the story's pretty linear, but like,
There's just
it's
weird
just,
things that happen, and
it's
you're kind
just,
of like, what,
yeah.
where, why, where?
Uh,
It might have just been me, but I think like a 5.5 to a 6. Really, the only thing that killed it, or like I don't give it a higher, is because this it. I don't know. I like my dubs. I like my
oh
dubs.
yeah, we both share the same with dubs.
Yeah, like there's if I watch it a specific way first, that's how I need to watch it. So like Dragon Ball, I can watch it in Japanese. Naruto, I can watch in Japanese. I love those. Bleach, I don't like Bleach really, but I can watch it in Japanese. I actually prefer it in Japanese. But this, I tried, can't. I like it in English. But other than that, really, like I said, about a 5.5 or a 6.
I think also, and it just recurred to me. Um, I think I did have some animation problems with it too.
I mean,
Like
yeah.
something weird where I they did the OVA, but OVAs for those who are watching this and like they keep saying OVA. What the hell is that? Well, just basically, essentially, it's gonna be put on VHS or some sort of video. It's not gonna be put out on like TV or anything. It's basically what an OVA is, straight to video essentially. And I think they really took that because um, I don't know what was happening with the
Like
character
the weird
movements.
stretching.
Yeah, and the character movements
I think that was
were
just like the anime
were
style of that
really
time.
weird. Was like kind of like I don't know how to explain it. So that was kind of problematic to me. I was like, wow, like I did notice that, and I wasn't gonna be real picky with it because it's such some '91 style, um, because the pencil works great, but the movement was kind of like janky a bit.
I think it's too
And that
just because I think they were still using cells and stuff,
oh,
so
they
a
were
lot
using
of it,
cells for like for
yeah, for
another
years.
almost
But
10
so
years.
like
Yeah,
a lot of that's not going to be as smooth, especially
yeah.
with what we're used to now, and it's like butter. Like
And then another thing too. One thing I did like about the show, the regular show, was they had like these 5 minute like segments at the end.
oh,
They were
I forgot
chibi.
about this.
They were so adorable. And,
Those on their own were like
yeah,
eights,
those were
8.5s, 9s.
those were like
They're fucking cute,
about nine
especially
and a
Big
half.
Light.
Yeah, like nines. Those were so adorable. And it was great because they didn't seem out of dubbed either. It was
No,
really weird.
they
Like
were better than the actual
the
show.
show as far as dubbing and everything, and they were so adorable. And I was like, I really enjoyed watching that. Which then again took away from who was the show for? Like I'm watching, I'm like, why is this in this? You know what I mean?
I know why it was
Like
in it. Because if you think about
I
it, at
loved
that
it.
time, anime was not seen as an adult thing in America. It was seen for children, even
Yeah,
though
that's true.
you had like what the hell was that? Blue
But
Akira.
there was some dark stuff in there though.
Oh
Like
God, yeah,
for like a kid show, I don't.
yeah,
know.
but it was cartoons. Cartoons
True.
were automatic. Cartoons and video games. You were automatically a child if you were watching that.
Yeah, like at that time already, like Akira had already been out for a few years.
Yeah. So it was like
Um,
just in infancy.
it was
Really.
really the golden age actually of anime.
Yeah.
Really, I don't think I don't think Blue was out yet. I don't think those movies were out. I don't think. I'm trying to think of what was out at that time. There was like some real weird shit that was out at that
Yeah,
time.
there was.
Like something called I don't know if I should even say it. It's there's an anime. It's called like
Ninja Scroll was out at that time too, wasn't
called,
it?
Well, yeah, but there's one called Metro Apocalypse something. Don't look that up. It's pretty crazy. Like there's some real disgusting stuff in it. And then Demon City also has some really disgusting stuff in it. And Paradise Doll, I think, was already out, and one called I think Battle Angel was out
It might have been
already. I want to say, if we're entirely wrong, we're sorry. We didn't research this. It's just
not this part.
Yeah,
this
is
just
sort of
and our opinions
bouncing off. So yeah, if they're like, you guys are all saying this wrong, don't chew our heads off. We're just really trying to point in the dark. But there was a couple. This was like when they were making Dark. Like the crazy.
I think they were trying to make sure that people understood these were not for children.
Like tentacle porn was definitely invented at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
like in anime, like it's there's that Metro one is like insane. There's some crazy, horribly disgusting things in that one. It's like Metropolis something, and then Demon City. I think that's a pretty tough one. There was a sequel to that one too. This is the shit I love because it was like the time where I was getting this stuff on VHS, like not this time, but when I was older and like in the late 90s, like or early 2000s, I was getting this stuff, and like a buddy of mine would always get this stuff. I don't know how he got them, but he'd be like, "Hey, there's like 3 movies in here," and like I was like, "Okay," and it was VHS, and it was like on the long version of the tape. It was like, what was that, LP? Or something? Yeah. Yeah. So and I was like, "What is this?" And it was so confusing because it would just be an episode or something would be totally out of order.
Oh God,
of what it was, but yeah,
like,
Ninja
again,
Scrolls,
like the Pokemon stuff, it'd be way out.
Like Ninja Scrolls was out already. I don't think Berserk had been out yet. But yeah, it was really confusing to who this was supposed to be. Not the OVA, definitely the OVA was pretty solid on more adults.
Teen adult area. Yeah.
But the show itself was kind of confusing. So, but hopefully you guys found this interesting as we did. Like I said, it was kind of like,
we didn't think we were gonna find shit on this. Honestly, like we thought this was gonna be a open close type thing, and then we ended up finding it's got 3 different versions of a show, fucking a bunch of board game manuscripts, a bunch of video games, which I didn't even know until we started looking into this. That
I only knew about the Nintendo Switch one.
I didn't even know about that. Yeah. I didn't even know about this. You're the one that brought it up and said we should do it.
Yeah. This was like that DVD that you would see. And the artwork's it's really pretty. The artwork.
Oh God, yeah. The case for this.
Yeah. And so it's like you just see that and you're like,
what is it?
What is that? Yeah. Like it always elude me. And then like I said, I was on Crunchyroll, and it just was like brand new.
Shit,
and
I'm like,
holy crap! Wait a minute, that's that show that I always see. I didn't know anything about, and yeah, it was. I was like, sweet, I'm gonna watch it. And then I was like I like the style, like we usually do. I just go and say. Let's go say, Nick, check this out. And you're like, okay. Like,
yeah, well, let's do it.
So, but,
I think that was our dive on this.
But that concludes everything for you.
Yeah.
You're all set. Again, thank you for, watching us all the way through. If you did, and, we appreciate you guys. Again, like, comment, subscribe, definitely, let us know how we're doing. We want to definitely hear from you. Our Instagram is in fact in the bio, and also I'm gonna try to do something different as well, because I don't know if the link really works. I don't know. YouTube's really weird about putting links, but I'm gonna try to get it so you guys can be able to find us on Instagram as well. So, but
yeah, then just a quick shout out again for the last episode. Thanks again, Jake. And I'll leave his little picture right here so you guys can find him super easy. Just let him know who sent you.
Yep, just let him know.
All right. Bye.
Adios. Bye.